I think the greatest threat that we are facing as humans is artificial intelligence. Now, I know some people look at it differently and they believe that it's a tool to help us and it's not all that apocalyptic. But I would just frame it this way. What does it mean to be human? To experience the world, to learn, to grow, to be alive? Well, some look at AI and see it as an extension, an evolutionary development, life moving to the next stage, and that's why it must be built. But this is a rigid, plastic, mechanized view of the world. Rather atheistic, as it were. I believe there is something magical in the human experience and that we're here for a reason. I think many of you agree, even though I don't consider myself to be Christian, I do share a lot of the moral values with Christians. Obviously, I grew up Catholic, so that seems to make sense. But I do believe it's logically sound in the observable universe when you look at what is. And that is, good seems to work towards order. Though destruction may result from good actions, usually it's to destroy that which is more destructive. But typically, order is good, and expanding human life and creating order is good. And that is why many people look at building of these data centers as the most important thing imaginable. But what does that mean for humans and what ultimately happens from AI? I do not believe that AI will create pure order. I think that it'll actually create a failed system, guaranteed failure, in that it will lack that human element of exploration. If done properly, the systems that man creates elevate man and elevate order, but AI in and of itself is on track to actually destroy humanity. We have the story from the Rolling Stone. The precedent is Flint, how Oregon's data center boom is supercharging a water crisis. Now, unfortunately for all of you, this is a poorly written garbage article by Sean Patrick Cooper, and they intend to write a novel instead of actually telling you what's going on. I just can't stand when they do this. So you find a news article and it's like, Donald Trump does bad thing, and you're like, whoa, what did he do? And you open it, it's like, it was a dark and stormy night. The cracks in the window were felt as the wind blew. And it's like, shut up. Just tell me what the news is. In the spring of 2022, Jim Doherty kept having the same conversation with folks at the grocery store. Healthy adults were coming down with unexplained medical problems. For the love of all that is holy, Rolling Stone, just tell me what's happening. Give me an opening paragraph, then start talking about this. But I just can't stand this garbage. Anyway, let me tell you about the death of the human experience and why I think that ultimately is the demise of life as we know it. Well, we know right now these data centers are massively expanding. They're eating up swaths of land, and you can see this beautiful picture. Ain't no cars there. Ain't no jobs for you. Now, it's great that we can make videos of cats playing the fiddle on a porch. Very funny video, by the way. But what about this? From Fox 45. As Mount Airy Tree Farm opens for the holiday season, threat of transmission line looms. This is terrifying and sad. This is a Mount Airy, Maryland, Christmas tree farm, but they need to build transmission lines to the data centers. So the Christmas tree farms have to go. Tell me, is it really the success of humanity that we will all become mindless, self-absorbed matrix robots? I don't see it. I understand there's many different traditions, but I believe the diversity of humanity is its beauty. I know many of you may say, wait, hold on there, Tim. Well, how could you say diversity is not our strength? No, diversity is not a strength, but there is beauty in I go to Japan and I have Japanese food and see Japanese people. I go to Singapore and I see the great, crazy casinos they've got. Man, how do you get up there? I was saddened when I went to the Bahamas. I went to Nassau. And I get off the cruise ship and I'm like, oh boy, let's see what Bahamas have to offer. Starbucks, Hard Rock Cafe, McDonald's, Gucci. Yeah, okay, that's not fun. For a community, unity is our strength. Diversity is not. Working together, sharing a culture, a heritage, a view is great. And with different humans and different worldviews come problems like war. But should we figure out how to get past all of that, and I think we can, there are tremendous things, like going to Eastern Europe and seeing the different kinds of foods they have and exploring the traditions of African cultures and the foods they eat. Not all of it is good, but Ethiopian food is pretty dang good. It's funny because people go, isn't that an oxymoron? Guys, Ethiopia was having a food crisis in the 90s. Those jokes don't work anymore. Ethiopian food is actually quite delicious. It is sad to me that we will homogenize under a mechanized system, that our Christmas tree farms will be gutted, destroyed, and removed so they can transport electricity to a faceless circuit board. And that's what's happening to our planet. We are rapidly turning it into a gigantic circuit board for an AI system that is impersonal, out of touch, and homogeneous. And that will be the end of humanity. And then the question will be, what is the purpose of humanity? To create a computer? Is that it? Is this the future that you all want and strive for? I don't think so. And I don't think it serves God, nor does it serve order. This idea that there would be this AI entity just expanding and putting machines identical to each other on other planets. Where's the development? Where's the exploration? Where's the imagination? Where's the abstract? It doesn't exist. Now, it is possible, as I already mentioned, if humans are aided by this, it can be to the greatest of human achievement. We're not tracking for that. We are blindly running full speed towards a matrix bland system. And if we continue on this path, what we will end up with is terraforming machines that terraform for the sake of terraforming. The world sterile and lifeless. And then, I know the Christians won't agree because they don't believe in aliens, or they just think they're demons, but imagine this. One day, on a faraway planet, there are little green aliens running around enjoying their little alien lives when gigantic black cubes appear in the sky, land on the planet, and start terraforming for the sake of converting new data centers. Is that order? I guess to a certain degree. But without proper adaptation, what is really being built? What is being made? I do not believe that our purpose in life and existence is just to create gigantic black cubes that expand themselves for the sake of expansion. Humans have a touch of the divine. We long for things we want. There's mystery and wonder in the universe. And this is so much more valuable than the sterile machine that would destroy our Christmas tree farms. But think about it this way. What if an alien civilization built these terraforming machines before we did? And one day, gigantic black cubes appear in the sky. They care not for us. We're specks of dust to them. And they start terraforming our planet and killing us. Well, that'd be horrifying. Why would we build anything close to that? Now, I do think that there's a possibility that if humans can correct the record and get it right, it's possible that our traditions are preserved, that we colonize new planets, travel to stars, uncover new medical technologies, and see the world in ways we've never seen it. But there is a fear that I have, and that life becomes sterile. I'll use poker as a good example. And I know not a lot of people are poker guys, but I think it's a great example because for regular people, they love the game. There's something called game theory optimal, and there's things called solvers. They've plugged the game into computers, and now computers beat all the pros at poker. And it's kind of boring. You sit down at a poker table at these tournaments or whatever, and they're like, there is a strategy play for every hand and every option, and everyone's playing rigidly and mathematically. They're not perfect, but they're trying to play like computers. It's boring. I like talking smack, goofing off, and having a good time with the boys, and it's a battle of wits. And that still exists, too. But what's happened now is the game is becoming sterile because everyone's just trying to play as close to a computer as possible. And that's boring. But that's what they're doing. Isn't there something special in its absurdity? That we will take a tree and put it up and put little fancy shiny rocks and pictures on it and hold hands? Isn't there something abstract that exists beyond just us consume, reproduce, consume, reproduce? It's sad because when you look at young people and they live in that world without purpose, they're depressed. So why are we building this machine? And don't get me wrong, there are people who say medical advancements, Tim. No longer will you watch your child die from an incurable disease, or rapid development of transportation technologies and communications technologies. AI will solve problems for us. Yes. But in doing so, is it also just driving us towards a sterile existence of boredom? No problems left to solve for us, just not even any real question. So we sit there and we lay back and we say, for what? That's sad to me. And this is exemplified by the destruction of these Christmas tree farms. They are so much more important than that machine. The spark of the divine. I love Christmas season, owner Lisa Gaver said. At Christmas time, you make those personal connections. Families are coming. There you see the little kids just so enchanted and excited on a mission. The holidays are approaching. Gaver Farm in Mount Airy is opening up for the Christmas season. There are concerns about transmission lines. Apparently, her land is critical for growing trees, allowing families, and they're worried about these transmission lines. They make their living by inviting people to their farm. Gaver also voiced safety concerns for their workers on the farm. The developers of the line, Public Service Enterprise Group, PSEG, along with PJM, the regional grid operator, have argued the construction of the high-voltage transmission line is critical for ensuring the region's grid reliability to prevent blackouts. Why? Because these data centers consume massive amounts of power. I'm not a Luddite. I do think there is a great opportunity in AI technology. Imagine you have a little floating robot and it helps you. You live your life, you do your thing, you ask it for help when you need to, and you can be like, hey, widget, I need help with this thing, and then it can do it. Some people won't like it, some people will. My concern is, are we really going to sacrifice our Christmas tree farms for this? If we do not recognize the importance of the human tradition and the human experience, we are going to sterilize ourselves and turn into cold, bland, terraforming machines. Look at what happens to young people with no purpose. That's terrifying. So I say this as a warning, and I don't know how you solve for it. We are blindly marching towards a mechanized, sterile existence, and I don't have any answers for you. The dark side of AI, they say. Indeed. Smash the like button, share the show, stay tuned, more to come. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all in the next segment.